Hello modders and welcome to part 2 of this Unity particle system how to build fireworks kind of video. We'll just continue where we left off. A few days have passed. I promised I would do it the day after, but then a lot of stuff came up, so it took some days. But anyway, we are here now and I haven't changed anything, so things should be exactly the same as last time. So we have this, and just to confirm that everything is that it should, let's just build the mod here and let's see it in game. I have the game open here in the background. We can go out here again. I can see let's just open up the folder here, so it's built the mod, and we can also see it in game. We can see it detected a file change to this Mania tutorial mod 02. All good. I have the game set up in window mode here, and a smaller resolution than my screen, and then have it fixed to 60 FPS because we don't really need more for this, and it saves up some resources for your machine to do the Unity stuff in the background. Okay, so let's just quickly see how it is right now. Okay, perfect. So all smoke comes out. You remember we had that, let's see here. Remember we had that sub emitter over here, that on birth. So when each of these yellow, so the top, let's just recap. So the top particle system here, and there's no right and wrong way, just let me say that to do this, you can do it in the ways you want. I'm just showing you the concepts of how the particle system works, and then you can take these building blocks and put together to make things work. So what I do is I have my root particle system here, have these yellow ones shoot out, and you can click this show only selected. That means it will only show the selected, so selected over here. So it will only show the particles coming out of this system when I preview it here. So you can see this is the yellow one. If it goes too fast, you can change the playback speed. It's only playback speed in the editor, as far as I know. So we can just set it to 0.5, and then it will be half speed. It can sometimes be better because you can better see what happens then. So anyway, we set it up to 1 again, because that's the normal speed. Again, it's just a preview thing. Playback speed is also affected by the time scale setting in timers, blah blah. Yeah, but I don't think this actually have an impact on the build particle system. Anyway, so let's unselect this, and we remember we had what I wanted to say was that every time this yellow particle spawns, we have a sub emitter here that on birth, meaning when it actually spawns, it will spawn one of these particle systems, and it will inherit nothing. We could also make it inherit colored, maybe. Let's just try and see. Then I think the smoke will be yellow. Nah, maybe not. Anyway, it doesn't work with that. It's a different thing. Anyway, so that is all good and it looks fine. So what are we missing? We are missing some sounds, but let's wait a little with that. But we're also missing something very important, which is something that happens up here, because typically when the shot goes up, it actually explodes up here. So with the knowledge you have of sub emitters, think about how you would do that. So what we could do, so we have the yellow particles here in this particle system here, and we have sub emitters on birth coming down here. That's the smoke. There's also one called death, and that is exactly when these particles, whoops, I hit the wrong button. When these particles are dying, meaning they are despawning, they are done. So let's try and add one here. Say we want to have it on death, and then let's make a new particle system here, and let's call that I don't know what explosion. I don't know what effects you would call that, but let's call it explosion. So that's what we want to have up here. That one right now is just this default white one, but let's see how that looks. So you can see right now because it's a child of this particle system, whenever we start it, it will just start firing off right away. But when we drag it down to this one, death here, then it doesn't start. It only starts... it doesn't start, apparently. Why don't it do that? So let's see. We don't want it looping, first of all. Actually, we want... What we typically want up here is actually a flash thingy. What? So see, I'm surprised too. So when these particles dies, it should spawn one of these. Huh? What? Lifetime 5 seconds, blah blah blah. I know it would look weird now, but why is it not even spawning anything? Okay. Let me see here. Okay, that's weird. So let's take a look at the other one here, just so see what happens here. So on death, this one is going off. Duration. Okay, it have a... Okay, maybe... But that shouldn't really be the thing. Okay, let's try that. So, emission. Right now, it have an emission rate over time. That means it will spawn... You can hover here. The number of particles emitted per second. So it will emit 10 particles per second. Let's not do that. Let's try and have burst of particles. So at the time 0, we want 5 particles to come out of this. Let's see if we can see that one then. Oh, now it works. Okay, so apparently that rate over time doesn't work when it's a sub. I don't get that because this one is... Okay, apparently that's the problem. Okay, anyway, so apparently these ones have to be burst. I don't know why it's not rate over time. Anyway, so actually you just saw it on this one also. We actually want a flash effect. So let's call this explosion flash, because you typically want that flash thing and then some particles. So again, you can see right here, this looks super weird. So we want 1 particle and we want it to speed. We don't actually want it to move, so it will be 0 speed, and the lifetime needs to be very, very small, like 0.1. We can actually do something like this, so it's like 0.1 second or 0.15 or something like that. So now we should see these small blips. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Yeah. So it spawns 1 of these because we set it to 1. So the explosion flash spawns 1 at time 0. The simulation space can be local because this is not moving. It's so fast. It's just 1. Okay, if you moved... okay, we actually want to have it world. The color, we could try this inherit stuff. Let's see if that works. So let's say we want to inherit this color thing. So now I would assume that they are yellow. Yeah, so now you can see they are yellow because these are yellow. But I don't know if that makes sense for a flash. Let's just keep it white for now. You can see it looks kind of weird because it's just this circle thing. It doesn't really look like a flash. So as we had before, when we need to change how it looks, the rendering of the particles, we need to go to render. And this is a little special for the game. That you can use these basic ones, but performance wise, I encourage you to use the way that I use for all the other fireworks. And if you can remember, just look at some of the samples. You can just go in here and then have templates and then fireworks and then take in one of these and then look at it and then delete it again. But anyway, so I can show you here. So renderer, we need to have mesh because we want to have an actual 3D mesh. We don't want to have a cube. We can try and have a cube just so you can see how it looks. And then we want to find the GPU ones. And if you can't see them, you just click, you search for, I hit the wrong button again. So you search for GPU, you can't see anything, then you click this one, and then you see all the materials that comes with the mod tools that you can select from. There is one called Flash Glow. So let's try and select that. And we want to have enable mesh GPU instancing, yes. And we don't want to have shadow, so everything is actually pretty okay here. So let's see how it looks now. So let's try and pause it here. So right now you can see that it looks weird because it's kind of a cube with some flash thing on it. It looks weird. That's because we picked the mesh cube. It's now rendered as a cube. We don't want that. We want the fm_sq. Click here again. The square one. We just want this square thing because then it looks better. So let's see here. See, this is better. It might be a little small, so we go up. We still have the flash selected. Let's change this the size of it. The start size is 1. Let's change it to, and we can also make that a variable, so it's not exactly the same every time. Let's make it just between 2 and 3. So now they should have a different size. Something like that. So that's good. They might be a little too long lived. So let's say 0.8 and 0.1. Want to have them go away faster. So it's like boom. Yes. So already you can see kind of the fireworks coming together here, right? So if we stick to this right now, because we can also, of course, we need to have some kind of effect. But before we get to that, let's make sure that these flashes, again, it's up to you what you want to have, but I would like to have some of them to have a light because it looks great when they kind of, you can see the light goes out because that's what it would do in real life. Let's, before we do that, test out what we have. So let's see. So let's go in here. Let's go out. Again, I have to do this restart button when in single player. That would be really helpful. But one thing at a time. So we go in here again. Again, it's a little boring because we don't have any sound, so we might want to add sound soon. See? Starts to look like something. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's open up again. I don't know if you noticed it. If we do it again, just quickly, you can see when these are exploding, we don't see any. We see the yellow light from them flying out, but you don't see any. Okay, I need to angle it. But when they actually explode, there is no flash of light. So as we did before, let's go down here and let's enable the lights. Let's take this little point light we have here, add it down here. The ratio is very important. How often do we want it? Do we want it for all of them? And you would normally think, yes, we want it for all the flashes, because in real life, that is what would happen. I think we can go with half of them, or maybe less actually. Let's see how it looks. We don't want to, because it can be very, very flashy if it's for everything, and performance-wise, not super great either. Let's just say we have a maximum of 2 lights at the time for this particle system, because again, performance, let's keep it to a minimum. The range we want to have pretty large, and the intensity might not need to be that intense, but it needs to go out far. So let's try 6 and 2. I'm just guessing here. I have no idea how this will look, but we will see. And you can see that best, all that flashing thing with all the lights thing, and you can also see in the game it looks a little different, but that's because in the game there are some post-processing effects that makes everything look basically a little better. More glowy, more shiny, flashy, whatever. Especially if you have the better graphics mode on. But anyway, let's try it. So we aim it this way. So we should see now some flash when they explode. Yep, you see now it's flashing. And then it's up to you. Okay, how much do you want it to flash? Because let's go back here again. Go to the flash here again. Also the flashing. So the range multiplier is, of course, let me just move this, is how far should the light go? If we take a look here at the light thing, just so you can see, maybe I can show you. So this is the light we have here in this one have a range of 1 by default. So that means it goes, it have a range of 1 meter. So the light reaches 1 meter. And the intensity is, of course, how strong the light should be. Should it be super strong or vague? So let's just disable this one again. And again, no shadows, yes. So now it will be 6 meters, which is kind of okay. It's not a super big flash, so maybe 6 is maybe fine, but I think we should go down on the intensity. I think it was a little too much. You have to remember that people can have 1 of your cakes, or they can have hundreds of cakes. So, of course, you cannot make it look great in every scenario, but to try and make it so it looks good on its own, but it also works when you have a lot of them. So let's see here. Let's try again. Now we should see that the range is the same, but the multiplier is a little less. So you can see, you can still see it's flashing here, right? But it's not super much. And yeah, that's up to you how much you want it to flash and blink and all that. Okay, so let's do some sounds. And again, let's look at the existing one we have here, because if you might remember from the other video, we have some particle system observers and sounds and all that. And these are specific to the game. These are not Unity specific, because the problem is Unity don't per default enable a sound to be played when at a particle location. So I made this system to make that happen. So basically we need a particle system observer. That's just the main component that makes sure to keep track of all the particles coming out of the system that it's assigned to. So this one is assigned to, you can see in this case here, is assigned to the root particle system, and it actually makes sense for us too here, because our thing here is the root particle system are these yellow ones. So it kind of makes sense when they spawn, it will be kind of a launch effect or a launch sound, and when they die, it's kind of the explosion effect. So it also makes sense in our case to have it like that here. So let's start out by adding a particle system observer. And the other thing you saw on the existing, and this one we have over here, is just a disabled effect from the default template that I just kept in here, so we can take a look at it. Eventually, when we're done, this needs to go away to not take up space and whatever. So, but right now, while we are doing it, we can keep it in here as disabled, so we have something to look at. And you can see we have a particle system sound, and that is exactly what we need. Spawn sound, destroy sound. Maybe it could have been named death sound, but anyway. And forget about the particle system explosion. We get to that in a moment, or maybe next video, because else it gets too long. So the particle system sound. So let's add that to this one again, to the root one. So particle, and you can search it like this, but you can also find it if you go in here, Fireworks Mania. I can't remember which one, not that one. Behaviors, others. Haven't I added it in here? Fireworks. Parts. here it is. So particle system sound, boom. But it's easier just to search for it. So anyway, so in here, this drop down here, or this selection box here will show you all the sounds that are in the game, or the sounds you have added to your project here over here, your mod project here. Right now we don't have any custom sounds here, but you could, in your project, you can have kind of a create Fireworks Mania definition game sound, and then you can have sounds in there. But for make it easy, let's just use some of the built-in sounds. So we have a spawn sound. So that's when the particle is spawned down here. So that will be kind of a launch sound. So let's see what we have here. Rocket launch, that's not what we want. Let's just take the air bomb 9 on 1. Boom. And destroy sound, that's when it's exploding up here. So that will be kind of a little more explosion, whatever, I don't know. Crackling, air bomb, explode, mixed, air bomb, let's say, not crackling, mixed. Sadly, we can't preview them in here. We can only set them and then try it out in game. You can actually, let's say we have the air bomb 8 explode mix. In the game, when you are in a map here, you can actually, if I remember correct, you can have play FM play sound, and here you can have you can just stop typing and you will find the air bomb explode mixed. That's the one we just picked over here, and then you can hit enter, and then you have the sound. And then you can have, maybe let's take another one, this one. That might be a better one. The 3 one. So this is the only way you can preview the sounds, because the sounds are not actually in the mod tools, they are only in the game. So yeah. So let's take the number 3 mixed, boom, just to have something. So one thing to note here is that this will try and play a sound for each particle that is spawned. In our case, it's actually what we want, because we only have a few particles shooting up and we need the sounds to kind of match. But let's say we have kind of a crackling effect. We get to that in a moment. You don't want to have that effect play for each little crackling, because the way you do crackling is basically a lot of minor flashes, but I can show you that in a moment. And in that case, you actually don't want to try and play a lot of sounds, because typically you have one sound with the crackling sound. So you just want to have play single spawn sound. So it only plays one sound. Yeah, you can see we'll only play the sound once and only at the first event. This is useful for particle system spawning a lot of particles and you only want to play a single sound. It's, again, performance-wise, let's make it simple and help the system a little. But in our case, we actually don't want a single one. We want it to play whenever the particle dies or spawns. So with that added, let's try and build the mod and let's see if it works. And let's go out here. Oops. Take a sip of coffee meanwhile. So now we should have some sounds. Very exciting stuff. So the sounds doesn't really match, but it did play, and we can hit F1 to see that there are no errors. That's also a very good idea to do when you're doing mods. Always look here in the console if there's a lot of yellow warnings or especially red errors. There's something, not errors. There's something wrong, and you have to look at what it says and then try and fix it. So now we have actually a working cake. It's a little boring cake, but we have a working cake with sounds. So, okay. Maybe it's a little crazy amount of particles going out of it in the first place. So let's change that. Because right now it's basically just shooting out 10 particle system in a period of 5 seconds. So that's what's happened here. That's why they shoot like that, which is a little crazy effect maybe. So let's try and change it a bit. Let's try and change the duration to 15 seconds. And let's say at time, at 0 seconds, we shoot out 1. Then at 2 seconds, we shoot out 1. And at 4 seconds, we shoot out 1. And at 6 seconds, we shoot out 1. And then again at 7 seconds, we shoot out 1 again. So now we are ramping it up because now it's 1 per second. And then we can have at the 10-second mark, because then we have a 12-second mark maybe, we can have 4 shooting out. So let's see how that works. So doom. I'm noticing something here. I don't know if you notice it, but the flash is not actually at the location of let me see. It's not actually at the location of the. Again, see here. I'm jumping a little around, but that's because that's the way you do it. You kind of try things and yeah. So see here. Okay, that was fine. And I know it's a little detailed, but why is it not spawning the flash at the same location as the I don't know if I should investigate that now, but it looks a little weird. Why is it not? That's a little weird. Because it is zeroed out, so it should be 0, 0, 0. And maybe it's the shape. It's too big. I think it's because it's spawning that flash particle inside. You can see I have it's selected now, and the sphere that it's spawning the particle inside is this big, so it will spawn it somewhere in the sphere. So if we make that a lot smaller, like the size of the actual particle, then it should actually fit better. Let's do and this is how you make it. You do stuff, see something weird, try and figure out how to fix it, and then yeah, go from there. Okay, so so I fixed the position. It was just the sphere being too big, so it was kind of spawning it all over the place. But going back to what we actually changed was this order of shots here. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. It's ramping up, and then the 4 shots. Boom. Okay. So let's try that out quickly. So now it's not as crazy, because before it was just like a machine gun just shooting out, which is sometimes what you want, but not what we want here. And again, all the different modules I'm showing you here, that is the ones you are playing around with to make various effects. So let's see here. You see the flash on the ground there when it's So what you saw there was that the last 4 actually only had one launch sound, and that is because it's trying to play 4 sounds within a too short time frame. So it will only actually play 1. So I think we can count 4. I think can we maybe have 1 and then a cycle of 4 with like 0.2 seconds between. So I think now it will shoot up like instead of 4 at the exact same time. I think. Let's see. Yeah, you saw that? Let's try and do it in game. Let's try again inside the game so we can also hear the sound. Get the full effect. The thing is, sounds can't, because the game tries to optimize things, it cannot play sounds too quickly after each other. There need to be some kind of time between. And that is because if it's too close, you can't hear it anyway. You can't hear and also if there's too many sounds played at the exact same time, it will sound really weird. So let's try again here. Ramping up. And then the last 4. It's not the most impressive cake, but that's up to you to make that. Okay, so the next part would be we need to have some kind of effect, when things are actually exploding. So we can do it many ways. We can do it as a sub system to the flash. So like when the flashes spawn, it could spawn another effect that shoots out particles to the sides. We could also just have it underneath this one, which is actually what I prefer. So let's add a new system effect, and let's say explosion effect. I don't know. The wording is not that good. Maybe this thing have kind of a name, but yeah, I don't know. And for this one, let's only take this one. So now I selected this one. I haven't put it into sub-emitter yet, so I can actually see it here. And I have selected the show only selected, meaning I only see the selected one here. So I have an idea of the effect. So first of all, we don't want it to go out in a tube like that. So we have to change the shape. I can't remember if we talked about that, but the shape is how the particles are spawned. You can see right now they're spawned here from the base of this cone here and then shooting this way out. For an effect, an explosion effect as a explosion of a little shell going up from a cake, we typically want a sphere, I guess. So like they are shooting out from, you can see here, from the center and out of the sphere. Based on the speed. But we also see some other issues. You see, this is not a super cool explosion effect, right? Because again, we have the emission being 10 particles over 10 particles per second. That's too boring. So we want to have this burst thing again. So we want at time 0, we want 30 to go out. So like this. That's more kind of an effect. So the speed is too boring because it's too slow. So let's just change the speed to 25. Boom. Yeah, perfect. But 5 seconds might be too. You see, they want to go out fast because we want them to go out fast, but in real life they would kind of slow down. So we can, yeah, okay. So yeah. Let's do, first off, let's make it a world system simulation space so it won't move with the cake because that looks weird. We've seen that. We also want some gravity modifier. So it affected by gravity. So now it goes out like that. what you typically want is that you want them to go out quickly, but then you want them to slow down quickly too. Like, you know, an explosion, poof, go out, and then they go down. And what you can do with that, you can start using some of limit. Let's see. Is it? I can't remember. Is it the velocity over time? No, it's not that one. This one. Limit velocity over lifetime. And now we start to get into something I can't fully explain. But it's something about, I think, maybe the speed limit of particles over the particle lifetime. So I think we can put some damping on it here. So you can see here. So now it goes out like that. You see it goes out quickly, meaning we can set this up to 25. So it will be like boom, and then slow down. See the difference? And then they fall down. Fall down. If we move it away, it will just see blip, and they will just continue to go out. So this will limit it, but exactly how this works, I can't really remember. I'm just fooling around with it until it looks like what I want. Again, somebody can maybe explain you how this works. It stops like a little too fast. Ah, okay. Not the best, but it's better than before. So to randomize it a little, let's change the lifetime of these particles. So let's say they need to live between 3 and 6 seconds. So they will kind of have a different life, and they will disappear at different times. Maybe that's a little too long. Let's say 2 to 4 seconds. And then they fall down. Maybe the gravity modifier is a little too much. Let's say this one. And this ramping thing. Oh, okay. Okay, so you'll just play around with this. Let's get the rendering in place too, because this is all wrong. Let's go back to the fc_square. We can't see it, so we click here and we click here. And then we say GPU because we want to find these materials that we have here. And let's see, we have point glow. That's a pretty good one, I think. And we want to have enable this one. Yeah, no shadows. Perfect. Okay. So I don't know if you can see it, but when you see it in game, that they are now more shiny and they kind of have this little glow to them. They are white right now, but we want some colors in here, right? So let's make them green, or we can make them between two different colors. So let's make them green and red. So now it starts looking like this. So you can see they fall down and then they just disappear. That sometimes that's what you want, but sometimes you also want them to change their size over lifetime. So if we do like this and we say something like this, then they will start at the full size, and then over the lifetime that is defined up here, they will slowly become smaller. So you can see they will do like this and disappear. That's one way of doing a smooth disappearing of particles. You can also do the color over lifetime. White will just be the color you have up here, and then you can select you have to set it like here, have another one here, and then you can say here at the end it should be transparent. So it will be over the period of the lifetime up here, it will be normal, and then when it gets to this point, it will start changing to be more transparent, and then at the end be fully transparent. maybe 4, maybe here, yeah. So, and that looks like this. See, now they are fading instead of being smaller. So it depends on what effect you want, but I think I will just take the size for now. Yeah, I think that's fine. Lifetime 2 to 4. Why are they seem like they are, why are they so equally? We might have to do a bigger range. So 4 to 6, let's see. Yeah. So now some of them are clearly disappearing before others. See? Boom. Okay. Perfect. So let's try. Now we just have this effect here. Let's go back to the system, the root system that is shooting off these yellow particles here, or orange particles. Let's go and have a subsystem again, add it, and when they die, we want to have this effect thing start. Yeah, let's try and see how that looks. Let's try and remove that and let's see. And that doesn't work because why doesn't that work? Nah, that's the same, doesn't matter. Yeah. Oh, it's because I have to, yeah. Again, see here, you will do this too. I have the show only selected turned on. So that's why I was only seeing, you know, this one goes up and nothing else. So you have to remember to turn that off. So one thing I can already see is that the flash is too small. So I want to make that bigger. So let's take the size from 6 to 10, maybe. So that looks a little better. Again, the flash here effect is bigger. So now we built some fireworks here. Let's go in here. Try it in game, see how it looks. I'm pretty sure this effect will be way too big for this. It needs to shoot further up, I think. But that's exactly what you will sit and tweak, and that's basically, I'm taking you through here how I would do it when I'm creating a new piece of fireworks, which has been a while, but and then you just go back and forth and tweak the stuff. And as you can see, I don't know all the stuff either. You see, it is some kind of fireworks, but it looks super weird. I think we have to change some things. I think we have to make this one shoot up further. So that means we want it to start shooting up with like 35 to 45. So I think it goes further up. So it's it takes up the effect much further in the air. I think then the effect will look better. I don't know if you saw what I did, but I selected the root particle system again, and then I changed the start speed here from, it was like 10 to 20 or something like that. Now it changed it to 35 to 45. So now the particles go way up higher in the air, because here they were kind of already shooting out of the ground or something like that. Let's see here. Let's try again. Boom. So let's see. Yeah, that's better. Maybe I should have made it shoot actually up in the air. So that's pretty good, right? It's some kind of fireworks. Okay, you could argue now that the thing that it shoots up is too small, because you almost can't see it. So I would then go in again, look at the default one here, and then I would change the size, the start size here. And I would change that maybe to 1. I don't know if that's too much, but let's just do it for now. So now the one shooting up is a little bigger. Okay. So what are we missing? Well, what we could be missing was some stuff when it shoots up. But we are at 44 minutes, so I think we should stop it here. And then I will do a part 3, I think, where we refine it a bit and also do some explosion effects. So these actually can have an impact of the world. But we'll take that in the next video. But now we're this far and it starts to look like something, right? Let's just quickly, before we ending this video, let's just quickly try it out with the bigger particles. Because what I think we want, you can see on this screenshot here, we want this trail for the particles shooting up. In real life, there would be kind of some kind of trail of minor particles. And I think we should add that in the next video. So let's see here. So, okay, maybe it's a little too big now, but okay, we'll have to make that particle a little smaller. But again, it's you that are the designer of how it should look, but this one at least doesn't look very realistic. But we'll try and make it a little better next time with some trails after. Did I say trial before? Trails after. And also on the effects, you know, when it's actually exploding up there, there should also be some trails after the different particles and some smoke up there too. Because that looks kind of good too. But yeah, this is it for now. We are 45 minutes in again. I don't know why it takes so long, but it just do. And that is how you do it. But it's pretty funny actually. And when you're sitting and fiddling with it and tweaking stuff. But yeah, this is how you do it. But I'll do a part 3. A part 3? That's what it's called. Where we continue on making this cake a little more awesome. So see you in the next one. Happy modding. Bye.